and welcome to ESI Africa. Today in studio we have Kenneth Oyakhire, who is the Managing Director for Services for GE Vernova in Sub-Saharan Africa. Hello, Kenneth.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. It's great to see you in studio again.
Same here.
So I know that GE Vernova is involved in a lot of different kinds of projects, and here in Africa, there are quite a few power stations that you are involved with. But can you tell us about the kind of work that you're doing in Africa?
Absolutely. Look, GE Vernova is a purpose-built and one-of-a-kind company. It is very intentional in terms of a very clear mission, which is to decarbonize and electrify the world. GE Vernova, if you look at it in a global context, up to 25% of the electricity generated globally is from GE Vernova's equipment. Now, if you scale that into Africa, up to 45% of the electricity generated in Africa is from GE Vernova's equipment. Today, up to 75,000 employees wake up globally excited to work tirelessly to keep the lights on. And if you look at that in context in terms of Africa, it's a unique place to be and a unique opportunity for us to continue to do more with the ever-increasing demand for electricity in Africa. 600 million people in Africa still lack electricity. We can't afford for that to be the story. So in Africa, we are uniquely positioned to continue to do great things with our technology, with our know-how, and with boots on ground to continue to deliver for our customers.
So now, when we are talking energy in Africa, the energy transition always comes up. So now,
Yes.
What does GE Vernova think? Well, this is what we need to be doing to get that energy transition going and, over the line.
Good question. But I think we have to take a step back to take that question into context. I think we need to look at the energy trilemma as it works and context into the energy transition. Now, if you think about the ever-increasing demand for electricity in Africa, there's a need to solve for not just sustainability, but I think we need to solve for affordability, reliability, and as well as sustainability with the growing demand for electricity in Africa. And this we can do in multiple ways. There's need for a good balance between renewable energy and gas. That has a long-term play as we continue to solve for the electricity demand in Africa. Now, if you scale that up with existing technologies, there are technologies today that we can deploy that would improve output, efficiency, using the same amount of gas required to produce that increase in output. Now, there could be debate around what should be the right mix of energy. But I think there is no debate around the need to solve for the grid solution globally. Today, in existence, we've got a centralized grid, one directional flow of electrons, and of course, very unpredictable. But I think going forward, what we need to solve for is having a more decentralized grid, multiple directions of electron flow, and a very, very predictable grid solution. Now, that alone in itself, if you bring it into context in Africa, would solve for the ever demanding and increasing need for electricity. I think GE Vernova will find ourselves in a very unique position to continue to lead the energy sector, to continue to deploy our ever improving technologies to meet the demand for high electricity in Africa and across the world.
Okay. Now, we've been talking across Africa, but here in South Africa, the thing I think about when I think GE Vernova is Sasol and the Secunda power plant.
Yes.
So could you tell us a little bit about the modernization work you're doing there?
Look, this is one that is of true pride to me because I was personally involved from the get-go. I think there was a huge demand and press from the government for all generation companies to meet a specific threshold in terms of NOx emission. We were able to work with Sasol to deploy one of our existing technologies that helps and enable them to reduce their NOx emission lower by three-quarters of what the expectation is, and at the same time reduce the carbon dioxide emission by 10,000 metric tons per year. This for me is an outstanding achievement. And with that, SASO sets the standard, not just in South Africa, but I think in Africa, for other generation companies to meet. It's a source of pride for us in GE Vernova. It's a source of pride for myself and the team in Sub-Saharan Africa to be part of that collaboration, to be part of that innovation, to make a change in a country that is ever growing in terms of demand for energy, that is ever growing in terms of prosperity and growth for the people. So personally, I take that project as one that is very true to my heart and very personal.
And I think it's one you could make a whole lot more noise about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the next episode.